After Dark. I want to welcome everybody out there, not just in the States, but of course overseas, worldwide, the entire universe. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out tonight just to be able to be here, not just because we have this beautiful guest that we have on, but we have, of course, wonderful music, conversation, topics, different things going on. So I want to welcome also my beautiful host, Sweet Aaron, alongside iambranded tonight. Sweet Aaron, what's up, girl?
I am so excited. I'm good. I'm really good.
Well, you know what?
I've
been excited.
It's going to be really sexy tonight.
Indeed, indeed. And as I get ready to introduce this young lady on to Branded After Dark, I want to say, you know, she kind of has a phenomenon thing going on with everything Zane, and, you know, not just the books, but now television, and just capturing a lot of imagination, not just on a sexual level, but on an imaginative level, and also on a creativity level. And you know, I don't think really there's not too many people that could do it like this young lady Zane, who we have on tonight on Branded After Dark. Miss Zane, how you doing, sweetheart?
I'm great, and yourself?
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, you know, I got to make sure I give credit where credit is due, and you know, congratulations on everything that you are continuing to accomplish. I mean, not just starting out, but where you're going right now. And I got to tell you, it's really a good look to be able to you know, see it all transpire, and not just you know, just the phenomenon that has been with your books. But also television now. I mean, you're getting a lot of buzz with TV now. How's that feel?
Oh, it's great. Anytime I can be creative, it's a blessing.
There you go. There you go. And, of course, she is brought to you by eroticanoir.com, N-O-I-R. You can be able to check out the website and, of course, follow her on Twitter at Planet Zane. And just in talking to you about just the books and just the pop culture that I think you've created, not just with you know, women of all cultures, you know, even men, because you know, men have to check out the book just to see what the ladies are actually getting into as well. So I mean, when you really kind of step back out of your you know, you kind of have an out of body experience, I guess you could say. How does that actually feel, that it's just captures so much love from everywhere?
You know, I really don't even really think about that to that degree, except when I'm actually out, like, doing an event or something, and people express that to me, or they email it to me. For me, I'm just doing what comes naturally. Right. It's great that different people really embrace my work and appreciate my work. But I'm really one of those writers that truly writes about stuff that has some type of significance or meaning to me, or some kind of interest. It's of interest to me. And it's so funny because that's one of the things I was going to post online either today or tomorrow, is do people feel that most writers actually do that? Do they really do they write just to be writing something, or do they write because they're really passionate about what they write about? For me, I always write about something that I'm passionate about. And again, this is really remarkable and a blessing that other people can appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people pick that passion up when you know, when they read your books, and you know, just kind of see it. I mean, not just on a sexual level, like I said, but also just on, you know, you have to be real creative, not just with characters, but you just have to be real creative, and like you said, passionate about, you know, setting the stage and being able to do what you do as far as being an author, right?
Yes, exactly. And I just think that a lot of people are not really, well, I can't say that. I think that there are those that are like that, but then I do think that we're in an age where a lot of people are just throwing anything out there, just to be honest. And if it works for them, that's fine. Huh?
I said that's why you can say it. It's because it's
there.
Yeah,
I mean, if that works for them, that's fine. Like, I'll give you an example. When I first started writing, a lot of publishers came to me and offered me deals, but they wanted me to change my writing style. You know, they suggested that I write, you know, a Harlequin romance type of book, or I forgot what it was called at the time. What were they? You remember there was a line of, Arabesque. Remember they had those
Okay.
Arabesque black romance books?
You
Or,
know what?
a Terry
I
McMillan
vaguely
type of
remember those books.
novel.
Right.
Yeah, or a Terry McMillan novel. And Terry is a friend of mine, but I mean, her passion is her passion, and mine
Right.
is mine. And I said, well, at that point, doing that kind of writing begins to be a chore for me, and I'm not interested in that. I write what I enjoy writing, and it's not just about sex. I mean, for me, it's interesting that a lot of people say, oh, Zane writes sex books, or she, writes erotica. I'd never read one single erotic story or book before I started writing at all. And it was so
Wow.
interesting that
Amen.
that's not what I set out to do ever. But I
Right.
don't feel that it's something that should be toned down, because people don't tone it down in real life. Those are just aspects of the characters. It's their life.
Mhm. Right.
And I don't feel like, people don't turn off some kind of faucet when it comes to romance, or at least they shouldn't.
Right,
Absolutely.
right.
So for
Absolutely.
me, I'm writing about characters, and the characters that I write about are mostly young, career-driven, ambitious people. So why wouldn't they also have a very vibrant love life?
Right. Full of passion, full of chaos, and to certain degrees, and just
Right,
full
so a
of
person, it's
you know.
ridiculous to think that somebody's supposed to be passionate and ambitious and determined when it comes to their career, or when
Mhm.
it comes to their relationships with their children or their friends and family. But then when it comes to intimacy, you just be like, oh, no. you know.
No,
It's
no
just
half
so.
stepping, no half stepping.
Indeed. Indeed. Go ahead, Aaron, with a
Well,
question.
um, I was wondering if you could give the listeners what is Zane's Jump Off about?
Well, the jump off is about 5 fraternity brothers in Miami who are in their early to mid-30s, and they belong to Sigma Omega Kappa fraternity that I made up. And it's all about their relationships with each other and their relationships with their women in their lives. One is married. One is single. One is separated. One is divorced. Well, actually, I'm sorry, 2 are single, and one is separated. One is divorced. So they're all very different characters. They all have very strong character arcs. The main character is a professional football player whose moniker is the jump off, because he's known for running down the field himself, carrying the ball himself, and jumping over the defensive line of the opposing team. And he also
Right.
owns a nightclub called the Jump Off. Then one of the characters, Spencer Martinez, is a on-air nighttime personality who does a radio show called The Other Side of the Pillow, along with his co-host, Nandy Carter. And then one of the characters just got out of prison after committing a white-collar crime, so he's trying to get his life back together. His wife divorced him while he was in jail, and so that is what it basically is about. So it's 5 main characters. One is a financial advisor who's slightly older, who is the one who pledged all the rest of them.
Right. And you can be able to check out Zane's The Jump Off on Cinemax. Check your local listings in your areas and time zones as well. And Zane is here on Branded After Dark. And as far as the characters that's created, I mean, like I said, you're already on episode 10 right now, and the people that actually haven't had a chance to really absorb it, it's definitely a must look at as far as everything that we just talked about, from just relationships, the drama that comes with some of them. There's there's a stalker in one of them as well, I guess you could say, right?
Yes.
And
and that all
and
comes like in the, if people really watch the show, they'll see where I'm going with that. With the Brenda character, In the pilot episode, some may remember there was a girl named Mia who approached her and said that she used to date Dimitri. And Brenda basically told her to get over it. If he doesn't want you, he doesn't want you. And now she's finding herself in much the same position, but she's handling it 10 times worse than the girl Mia did. I mean, we never saw, Mia again.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of
until later, I'm sure, right?
Here.
I know you can't say a whole lot, but I'm pretty sure we might see her again, right?
Which one, Mia or Brenda?
Mia.
No, Mia, she gave up. But Brenda, we definitely have not seen the end of Brenda. That's for sure. But, it also brings up the topic. One thing I want to express is that Dimitri never lied to Brenda. He never claimed that he was in love with her. He never claimed her as his woman, any of that stuff like that. He made it very clear that they were just friends. But he also realized that she was hoping that he would change and he would fall in love with her.
Right.
And it begs the question, who's responsible for that in that type of situation? If a man is sleeping with a woman and he knows for a fact that she expects more, shouldn't he be if he realizes that she's not going to give up because she, in her mind, she thinks she's going to make it work, that she's going to get him? And should the man be the one that walks away, or should the woman? Because 9 times out of 10, the woman is not going to walk away.
Right.
Because
there's feelings that I guess progresses. I mean, and even though Dimitri, who's played by Mean Joseph, for the most part, like you said, he already expressed exactly what it is that he wanted from her. But sometimes people kind of catch feelings as they go through that thing, right?
Right. He knew it because at one point she even said she loved him. When she was cuddling with him, she said, and that's at that point. He should have done something about it, but but he just let it go on and on. And the same thing with Woody. Woody was sleeping with Giselle and realized, even though that clearly started out when she just tried to seduce him for sex, he knew her feelings were changing as well. And it's really just about how women and men regard, different situations differently. Right.
And to me, I think it's a good gauge that people can actually take because, even though, like you said, it's characters that, a lot of people probably can relate to in a certain point in time because, like you said, not everybody has a has a black or white situation in their relationship. It might be gray, a whole lot of gray in certain cases. So, it's good to be able to, see just some of that because, the people that love drama and good acting, I think that's that's good. And also, you have to be commended, too, Zane, for, executive producing this, not just Zane's A Jump Off, but you also did Sex Chronicles as well. That was on Cinemax. So, how has that transition from being an author to producing, television work for you?
It's a totally different concept. I won't say that it's easy, but it's very rewarding. I love it. It is definitely different when I'm writing, even when I'm writing the scripts for the show. I'm alone with my laptop. When I'm on set 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, with an 80-member crew and a 30-plus member cast, it's a totally different situation. Because then I'm literally dealing with, over 100 people a day. It's a big production. Right. I'm responsible for about $100,000 a day on a budget.
Okay.
Wow. Are you happy with the visual work?
Yeah, I'm very happy with the visual work.
Awesome.
I think
I'm
a
very
lot
happy,
of us are
very
too.
proud of the production. The difference between the Sex Chronicles and the Jump Off was that with the Sex Chronicles, we shot on a sound stage. With the Jump Off, we shot on location.
Okay.
Which one did you like better?
The soundstage in some ways made it easier because we didn't have to move everything around, but the location to me gave us much better production value than the Sex Chronicles, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, there's a big difference. You can tell the difference between, even though we had a great set designer and all that kind of stuff, there's a big difference between being on a sound stage. And, for example, in the jump off, Gabriel Turner's office was actually the 35th floor penthouse of the Watermark Tower in Los Angeles. And we were able to use real houses, so real offices, real restaurants. The jump off was actually an actual club called the R Lounge, which is in L.A. So, to me, the look is a much crisper look because then we just come in and kind of redress what's already there, as opposed to building restaurants and building houses and, all that kind of stuff. On the flip side, it was a lot. Because when we moved locations, it involved, we probably had, probably anywhere between 12 to 15 trucks. Because you have generator trucks, you have the mobile trailers for the cast. You have to have a wardrobe trailer, makeup trailer, hair trailer, all of that kind of stuff. A truck wagon truck to serve food, parking. Every time we went somewhere, we had to arrange parking, even if it was up to a mile away. So I had to have a transportation crew with 15 passenger vans to take people back and forth. And, it's a much bigger thing than just shooting at a sound stage, and the sound stage has a parking lot. People show up, and the wardrobe guy has a room. He just keeps the wardrobe there all the time. But so it's a trade-off for it.
Did you ever
and it takes a lot of time to lighten sets. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Did you ever actually get to come out and shoot in Miami?
We did shoot in Miami. We shot, most of it was shot in L.A., and then we shot 95% of the exteriors in Miami. All of the beach scenes were in Miami.
I wish I would have known. I would have come.
The golf course was in Miami. We did shoot at a couple of houses in Miami. So, yeah.
Wow. I would have come out and been an extra.
Zane is our guest on Branded After Dark, and you can also follow her on Twitter at Planet Zane, and you can, of course, go to our website at eroticanord.com. And, real quickly on the Sex Chronicles, are you going to ever revisit that? Because, there was so many, open-ended, it ended with so many questions, I guess you could say, right? After the second season. Will you ever revisit that again?
No, that won't be coming back.
No?
And it wasn't me, and everybody gave Cinemax a bad rap. It had nothing. It was not Cinemax. It was me, and I had my reasons for doing that. And it was just unfortunate, but no, I definitely will not be bringing the Sex Chronicles back. And it probably was for the best. I mean, the Sex Chronicles ended up being a very difficult show to do, and the only reason why, when HBO, who is the parent company of Cinemax, first approached me about this, they had read the Sex Chronicles and wanted to take the short stories and turn them into, half-hour episodes, kind of like Red Shoe Diaries. Right. When I went in to meet with them, and they met me and found out about my life, they said, oh, well, wow, we'd rather the show be about you. So that's how the whole thing started. And it was really hard to write two shows, carry two shows in one in 30 minutes. So I do feel like there was some things lost there. Also, the main character being me was not the most comfortable concept for me, even though it was a cute idea in the beginning. I'm a very private person, but the character was really 85% true to life. And I didn't want to write a character that wasn't me. I didn't, because I know how people are. I mean, even people who read some of my books, they think I'm like the characters from my books. So I was very cognizant of the fact if a character is named Zane, then people are going to assume,
Right.
that everything this character was doing was really me. And a lot, like I said, the majority of it was. I mean, I changed some things on the show. My character was the vice president of marketing for a makeup company. I decided to make that more exciting, whereas I actually was in marketing for a major paper company based out of South Africa when I became Zane. So paper is not exciting, so I changed that to cosmetics, that kind of thing. But the majority of what happened on the show was really my real life, which is why, by the way, my character didn't sleep in bed with anybody to episode 6, which except for that one flashback at the beginning, which was very interesting because, Cinemax, of course, wanted my character having sex. I was like, no, I said that this is my character.
Right.
I would not be running around just having sex with a bunch of random people. So, my character on the show was truly me. On the jump off, the character Nandy, even though I don't call her Zane, the stuff that she says on the radio show, all of that is me. Like, all the stuff she says on the radio is really me. That's stuff I actually say, like on Facebook or just wherever, stuff I've been saying for a long time, and my outlook on situations. A lot of the call-in situations and a lot of the topics are actually topics that I've covered, on my Facebook page or in my books, and that kind of stuff. So that's the way I kind of interject myself into that show without having to call somebody Zane.
Right. Makes perfect sense.
There were many reasons why I ended the Sex Chronicles, but the main reason was I really, because I am such a private person, I really didn't want a show on the air about my life for a long period of time.
No, that makes perfect sense, especially because, you being who you are, it makes sense. The way you explained it, it makes perfect sense, and I can dig that. And Nandy, the Monique Cash is she plays Nandy on the Zane's Jump Off, which is on Cinemax, and you can go ahead and check your local listings for that. And, the cool thing about it, Zane, is the fact that you were able to bring some of the good actors from the Chronicle over to the Jump Off. And are you handpicking a lot of these as far as, just their acting talents itself, or, you have a good team that supports you in that too?
Well, I have a casting director, but yeah, I do make the casting. I am, like, from the beginning, I always envisioned, even when writing the script, I envisioned Eamon as the lead from the very beginning. And I kind of wrote the script based on his swag, as I call it, as I address it, his voice, his mannerisms. So I knew that he would fit right into that role because I actually did, for the most part, write that role based on him. Because at that point I knew him fairly well, as far as working with him, 2 seasons. So, I mean, he's such a serious actor. I really, he really is. He takes every scene seriously. He wants to understand it, understand where the character is coming from, understand why a man would act like this or that, why he would do this. And he really just, really gives it a lot of thought, even his movements and stuff. And sometimes we're on set, he's like, okay, I just need a moment to get into that space. He really gets into, and all of them do, all of the guys on the show, well, the whole cast really, but especially the guys are just very seasoned actors. Kenyamba, who plays Woody, is the one with the least experience, but Sean Riggs, who plays Ernest, is just phenomenal as well. J. Teddy Garces, who plays Spencer, has a long history of work, and he's a very serious actor as well. I mean, and Damian Raven, I just love. I mean, he's like the perfect, on the Sex Chronicles, he was like the perfect married man, and on Jump Off, he and his wife, I really wanted to have that one couple that signified what love is truly supposed to be about.
And you have that too.
And with him and Aspen.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they talk, the way that they kid around with each other, the way that they make love, men married, I just feel like that's the way a married couple should be.
You got to add some flavor to it and everything. That's true. And then, real quick, like you said about just you're working with Mr. Amin Joseph. Because the first couple of seasons of the Chronicles, you put that boy through an emotional ringer. So he was able to display a whole lot of good acting talent as far as that was really the first time I had a chance to really check him out and see what he was about. And that was a good look just to be able to have him as the role of Dimitri. I thought that was a good choice.
I mean, he was, like I said, the one that I always had in mind. And again, it wasn't the cast's fault that the show didn't go on. So I wanted to try to rectify that in a way.
Right.
And I'm glad that I was able to do that because it wasn't, they worked really, really hard, on the show. And again, it wasn't anything of their doing. So I was able to rectify that and do it in a way where the shows are so different that one role doesn't really overshadow the other one.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
Gotcha.
Can we look forward to a movie?
Yeah, actually, I'm waiting on the release date for Addicted. It's been shot since last November.
Oh, wow.
I know that Lionsgate has been doing some, I know they've done a few screenings to try to kind of tweak it a little bit. So I'm just waiting for the main release date, but that is done. And the cast for it is Sharon Leal, Tasha Smith, Boris Kojo, Tyson Beckford, William Levi, Kat Graham, and we have a very great cast on the show. I mean, on the movie.
Yeah.
And the movie does follow very, very closely to the book because I know that's a big gripe that people always have. So I can say that it's very similar to the book, but there are some changes that had to be made because Addicted was told in first person what she was thinking, what was going through her mind. And, of course, in the movie, it's the total opposite. Right. But as far as the dialogue and all of that, so it follows very closely to the book.
Wonderful.
Perfect. As Zane is our guest on Branded After Dark, a couple of quick questions before we let you go. And, I always wanted to ask, with someone that is, so creative with everything that you do from books to now television and just, everything that you've captured as far as people's imagination and attention, there's so many people out there that want to ask, like, is there any misconceptions that people would have when it comes to either you, your books, and now television?
Oh, well, yeah, there are a ton of them. I'm probably one author who probably has more misconceptions than just about anybody in regards to who I really am and what my purpose really is. But most of that comes from people who don't read my books and watch my shows.
So
let me just say that I have no problem with anything that I have done. I have no regrets, and I make no excuse. There's no reason for me to make excuses for it because I haven't done anything wrong. I'm here because my parents had sex. Everybody else is here because their parents had sex.
Really?
And hopefully, I would like to think that when my parents made me, that it was really good sex. So,
exactly.
And in fact, my parents just celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary,
Oh.
so it must have been really good sex, and and so it's just interesting. But again, the people just really get caught up in that when my books and my writing, even the Jump Off and the Sex Chronicles, even though they're technically, the late night adult kind of shows, I took what was normally just sex on those shows and really cut that down. With the Sex Chronicles, we went from the average Cinemax show had like 16 minutes of sex in a 30-minute show. I cut that down to like 8 minutes on the Sex Chronicles. And with the Jump Off, I know, for the majority of the episodes, there's no more than that. I mean, I really took it and gave it, a storyline. Because if you look at the Jump Off, or even, if you really look at the Jump Off, if we took out all of the sex scenes and just, alluded to people having sex, the story would still be compelling.
Absolutely.
The characters would still be developed. And that's why I try to tell people the difference between erotica and porn, in my opinion, is that erotica tells a story you care about. It's not about people having sex. It's about
Right.
caring about why they're having sex and who these people are to each other and what their backgrounds are and, who are they? Not just because anybody, just about any writer can just write something and say, oh, we went in the room and started going at it. He did this. He whipped that out. She did this. And honestly, who really cares?
Right.
Perfect example, when I first did one of my flavor books, this lady wrote the story, and she just said, oh, we hadn't seen each other in years, and we came in the room and we ripped each other's clothes off. So I emailed her back. I said, look, I really like your imagery, your imagery and all that kind of stuff, but who are these people? Why should I care that they're having sex? Tell me a story. The sex thing is fine, but tell me a story. And she actually took it to heart and came back to me with a story that actually was so good I made it the first story in the book. And she really, developed the character. It was a woman who rode a bus, who saw this guy all the time, a blue-collar worker, and he finally said something to her, and it turned out that, she kept wondering why he never asked her out. It turned out he was in a halfway house, so he had to be back by a certain time. And then he ended up committing a crime and going back to jail. And the whole time he was in jail, despite her friends and family talking junk, she would go to visit him, catch the bus, up there, and visit him on visiting day and all stuff. And so then we get to the point where he just got out of prison. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense that
Now it's
they
going
would have
down.
this passion, for each other, because they had to wait all these years because he was like, that kind of thing. To me, that's erotica, not, oh, let's go for it, jump the bones kind of thing.
It's not like ding dong, pizza's here, okay, let's have sex.
Right, and I actually have heard people. I was at the University of Maryland one time years ago, and I don't even remember the man's name now. I had never heard of him before that day, and I really haven't given him much thought since that day. But I was pregnant at the time. And, I was pregnant, and I told my husband, I said, oh, I'm going to run over here to this thing they're having at the University of Maryland, this Black Writers Conference or something. And I went over there, waddled in there like 8 months pregnant, and sat down in the back. I was going through the little gift bag, and it was at that time, most people still had no idea what I looked like. So I'm sitting there, and the next thing you know, I hear my name coming out of somebody's mouth on stage. And there's this man on stage talking about me like he knows me, like he's my daddy or something.
Wow.
Explaining why Zane decided to write Addicted, why she writes sex books, yada, yada, yada. All of this stuff. And so there was one author on the stage who knew who I was, and he was a moderator. So at the end, I raised my hand to ask a question. He didn't want to call on me. And he kept calling on other people. He kept calling, and other people told that man off. They were like, why would you talk about Zane like that? I mean, we like Zane. So when he finally got to me, I just said to him, I said, I have no idea who you are. I said, but I happen to be Zane. I said, and none of the stuff that you said about me is correct. I said, I just want everybody to know that you're telling me, but he was really talking like he was some kind of authority on my life, explaining why I do what I do. And so that, that really, how can people, do and it only made him look stupid.
Right.
Quite honest, it made him look really, really stupid, because he should have been up there promoting, he should have been up there promoting his own book.
I can only imagine what the look on his face looks like.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. One other question, real quick. Zane's our guest on Branded After Dark. And do a lot of people come to you and tell you, you know what, you help marriages, you help people's sex life, you saved marriages because of what you do and how you do it, and books and now TV. Do you get a lot of that, right?
Yes, I do. And I have quite a few babies named after me too.
Hey, there you go. There you go. How does that make you feel? Like, do a lot of people kind of look at you as like the perfect sex counselor, I guess you could say, when it comes to that?
Are you a sexpert?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I'm a woman who is uninhibited, who believes that If women are going to have sex, that they should enjoy sex. I believe in empowering and uplifting women in all aspects of their lives. And to be honest, the thousands of emails that I get a month, I would say that 98% of them have absolutely nothing to do with the actual sex act.
Okay.
Sex is something that you have it's enjoyable when everything else is aligned in your life.
Right.
And so I concentrate more on those other aspects of a person's life. As far as I'm concerned, as far as the whole sex thing, I really broke that down in my book, Dear G-Spot.
Right.
Really, that was my sex manual. So that was it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And yeah, I have the sex scenes in my books and all that stuff. I think that a lot of women just realize that one reason why I kept doing this is because I realized a lot of women were thanking me for letting them know that they were normal.
Right.
A lot of women really think there's something wrong with them if they have a lot of sexual desires and stuff like that. And I continue doing this because I just don't see anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not, somebody that runs around, having sex with random men, who's very promiscuous. Like a lot of people have that misconception. Like most people don't know that I married somebody I've known since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But, you people probably think, oh, Zane probably is running around having one-night stands, all that kind of stuff.
Just
doing
off the chain, erotic,
like
everything. Right.
Yeah, but doesn't mean just because I married somebody I know since I was 10 doesn't mean that I can't have a great sex life.
Absolutely.
Right.
And as a guy,
you don't have to be nailing everything that walks to have a good sex life.
Right.
And as a guy, because guys need to have sexual imaginations just like women, but, like you said, it's okay for women out there to have a healthy sexual imagination. Take it from a guy, it's important because you can't just, you just can't be plain. You just can't be plain when you're with somebody that you say you love and care about, et cetera, right? You got to have some kind of, you want to open up your sexual book and go through as many pages as you can, right?
Right, exactly. Why not?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Follow this young lady on Twitter at Planet Zane. Do it right now, and also hit up her website. She has her Zane store that's there. You can go pick up all the books, and you can, of course, check out Zane's The Jump Off on Cinemax. Check your local listings. And I gotta thank you for hanging out with us for as long as you have, and I gotta definitely tell you too, as a huge fan of what you've done so far and continue to do. I just want to keep seeing you grow, and I love the fact that your growth is now being shown on TV. So I love that too. So it's good to be able to see. And this woman's a boss. She's executive producing, a huge pop culture Zane movement that she has, and you can't get any better than that. And I just love to see you continue to grow, and we gonna be checking it out on Cinemax as long as you got these things going on in your books. We're good. We're good.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'm absolutely honored to have spoken with you, and you have just made one more person subscribe to Cinemax.
Oh, good.
Absolutely, 100%.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We're gonna continue to keep spreading the love and directing everybody over to Planet Zane. So we're gonna keep spreading that love right here on Nexxlegacy Radio. So I appreciate Zane for hanging out with us, and we'll be back after this.
Nexxlegacy.